Grand Rising Najee. Oh, if y'all didn't know, um, Najee, if you can unmute, are you in, oh my, I see her face, but her name has disappeared out of my brain.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Your candles. Do you still have your candle line?
I do not currently have any candles.
Okay, gotcha. Miss
Yeah.
Susan, you and Miss Susan Marie. I'm sorry. We had two Susans.
Yes. I will privately message you about that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
But you and Miss Grace looking vibrant. I love y'all's hair.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
lady. Beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you so very much. Now you look sharp in that suit right there. Now, wait a minute.
Okay.
You get sharp in that suit.
Okay.
I done seen a few pictures with you in these sharp
Okay.
suits. I'm like,
We're
wait a
going to
minute.
we gonna have to watch it
Yeah,
like we was watching Tracy. Where you going? Okay. What you doing?
get my suit game up.
That's
Well,
it.
thank you. I try to, do a little something now and again.
It. Isn't that I'm gonna get with you. I'm so sorry. I thought I called and I thought we missed each other. I'm gonna get with you.
Worry. No worries. Yeah, I knew I could pop on here and tap on your shoulder, you know.
Thank y'all so much for joining us this morning. Okay, a little housekeeping. The lineup for the week is shifting. So I want to come on here and let everyone know the lineup starting next Monday. And Grace, if you can put the lineup in chat for me too, and then put it in the notes. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna switch these notes up real quick just so you can have empty space. I started a note, but I'm gonna delete what's everything underneath it so you can have some, wait a minute. Oh, so you can have some empty space to work through. All right. Today's title is Selfish Service. So the lineup has shifted. It's a wonderful shift. Wonderful shift. With that being said, starting next week, Monday at 8 a.m., we will be having Let's Study a Book with the wonderful Sorrentinos, the original humor consultants. Whoop, whoop. Then that evening, we will have the original humor consulting show, Our Wins and Challenges at 7 p.m. Central. And that will be our new Monday lineup. Our Tuesday lineup has not changed. We will have the morning call at 8 a.m. And then we will have the Bureau keynote at 7 p.m. Wednesday morning, nothing has changed. We will have the morning meeting at 8 a.m. And Pain 2020, depending on how our Linsoms are going or what's going on in their lives, Pain 2020 at 5 p.m. It's at 5 p.m. Central, right? Not 5:30. Okay, 5 p.m. Central on Wednesdays. And that will be streaming live on the Assembly of Wonders Facebook page. On Thursdays, there is no 8 a.m. call, but we have the Always Becoming call at 11 a.m. Central Time. And for those of you that are a part of Pathbenders starts at 6 p.m. Central Time. And rounding it off on Friday with the morning call at 8 a.m. That is our weekly our weekly schedule. What we will also do is, who is not, what I'll get with Antonio, and what we'll do is we'll post because pretty much everybody is in the fan page. So we'll post the schedule in the fan page. Let me make a note. Give me 1 second, making this note. Because pretty much everybody is in the fan page. So we'll post the schedule in the fan page and post, I'll put on a document all of the links for each one. So that way you have the links. If you would like to be a part of Pathbender, I believe it is closed, but I will have to get with Antonio on that because I don't know when this round of Pathbender ends, but you might want to go get the book. And it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. All right. So before we get started, like before we dig in, got the housekeeping out the way. Is everybody doing okay today? I'm just doing I'm checking on my strong friends. Is everybody okay? Okay, I got thumbs up, head nods. Great in the fan page. Okay. And we know Mr. B. Shorn is okay because he just came back from, he said earlier, from recharging.
Recharging, refocus,
There we go.
and reevaluation.
There we go. And celebrating his anniversary.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for acknowledging that. My wife and I needed to get away with all the stuff. I didn't get an opportunity to say, but 3 things that I could celebrate that I'm happy about is that I completed my book in March. I won a big lawsuit in this year, and we celebrate 27 years of marriage. So those are the 3 things I can be so.
That's
This
a
year has been
celebration.
awesome.
Come on now. That is a celebration. Let me tell you something. That is a celebration. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Najee says she good. She's doing good. Just checking on my strong friends. Everybody okay? I'm doing a mental health check. If you stressing, if you spazzing, if you screaming silently in your brain, just shoot me a text message. I may not be able to fix your problem, but we'll talk it out if we need to, okay? Just checking on my strong friends. Every now and then, we need to check in. All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So today we're talking about selfish service. We have been talking about our top 5%, our 95%. Thank you so much, Grace. You do it so wonderfully. Look at that. She just got that so beautifully.
I'm still trying to work at it. Something happened with my screen, so I'm trying to work that out.
It's Grace. Technically, for your electronics, it's a Monday, so expect them to not act right. Okay. I'm a firm believer that equipment, computers, technology is emotional, just like people. It understands when it's the beginning of the week. It understands when it's the end of the week. It always acts up on a Monday and acts up on a Friday. Okay. And I believe it. I've experienced it. I have proof. I talk to my electronics. Okay, I know it's Monday. I understand. It's not Monday, but it's the first day back, and I understand. It's okay. We gonna get through this together. I feel you. And then they start acting right. You just got to show some compassion and some, empathy. Selfish service. We've been talking about and expressing the importance of your top 5%.
Can I stop you just for a minute?
Yes, you absolutely can. Go ahead, Miss Andra.
I didn't want you to continue with your hair out of place since it's so beautifully done. But I wanted to remind you that it's Tuesday. So it's having the computer system is having, what do they call that when you get drunk and can't, what is that? You have to have that mixed drink to, oh my
I
God,
think they
what
call it a
I don't
Bloody
remember.
Mary. They do the Bloody Marys when you have the hangovers.
Yeah.
Do the Bloody
Hangover,
Mary.
that's
Yeah,
it.
there you
So
go.
since it's passing over into Tuesday, it's having a severe hangover. Electronics do that to me all the time though. So what do you call that?
I call it emotional. I firmly believe that our electronics are emotional. And because yesterday was a holiday for some, our electronics like, look, we took a holiday off too. I don't want to do it today.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me share that.
Oh, you so very welcome. Hey,
Love
Uncle
you.
Rummy Rum. All right. So today, again, we are discussing, I'm going to copy and repaste this. Today, we are discussing selfish service. We've been talking about the top 5%. And I don't know about you guys, but there was a point in my life where being selfish, there was only a negative vibration behind that. And to focus on your top 5%, you have to be selfish. And it's not the selfish that we have been taught over the years. Like when you're being selfish, you're not, you can't, when you're being selfish is negative. We always get the negative connotation of being selfish. Well, I want to talk about the positive aspect of it, because selfish service is required for you to be able to get the desires of your heart. And selfish service is you serving your own desires and aspirations. We have heard over and over throughout the year. Well, I have heard over and over throughout the years. I don't ever want to put anything on you guys. I have heard over and over throughout the years that I forgot my train of thought that quick. I'm still waking up, y'all. Give me a second. Oh, nope. Okay, I guess I wasn't supposed to say that then. I don't know what just happened. It was right there, and then poof, gone. You serving your own desires and aspirations is very important when it comes to materializing your desires. Thought plus emotion equals creation. And when you are serving your own desires, oh, I remember now. Over the years, we've been told, well, I've been told, and I've heard from others that it's gone again. Dang it. This is very important. Oh, I got it, Uncle Rome. I got it. I got it. I'm so sorry. Like it'll come and it'll leave. I quit. I quit.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste. You know that,
It
right?
really is. I quit. Oh, I got it. You have to focus on yourself in order to focus on others. Like here it is. When you're straight, everything else around you is straight. That's it. I finally got it, Uncle Rome. It came out right. It came out this time. When you focus on yourself, everything else falls into place. This is selfish service. It's not negative. It's not the negative aspect of being selfish, but if you don't get rest, you respond a certain way to things. When you don't feel yourself, when you don't do your meditations, your Bible studies, your prayers, You feel some kind of way and it reflects on the outside of you. If you don't eat right, if you're not drinking enough water, it reflects on everything outside of you. If you are not healthy, everything outside, go ahead, Mishorn. Everything outside of you is unhealthy. Go ahead, Mishorn.
Yes, I just wanted to, in your effort of what you was remembering, you caused me to realize that maybe this will assist you in what you was talking about for the sake of others. Sometimes your selfishness desires to do that 5% is not necessarily just for yourself, but to do the best for the sake of others. Okay. When the others that you meet, the people that you need to communicate with, the things that you need to do, divine principle individual for the sake of others. Okay. So I truly believe that 5% obedience, because God take care of the 95%. A lot of people, and it is interesting to hear y'all talk. A lot of people don't talk about, but God take care of the 95%. People say, "What do you mean God take it?" 95% of everything that we have to do, like the sparrow, is already provided for us. We only have a 5% obedience and responsibility. That's it.
Our 5% is our work. Faith without works, that 5% is your works. You have faith for the 95%. It worked, Grace. You see it? You see it? What I have learned over the years, because I was a server. My mom was, she was ministry leader for the serving ministry. It's not called the service ministry. What is it called? There's a certain word they use for it. Hospitality ministry. There we go. She was the leader of the hospitality ministry. So her being leader of the hospitality ministry automatically made me a member of the hospitality ministry. For those of you who grew up in church, when your parents did something, you did it too. And in being a servant, when you feel a certain kind of way when you're serving yourself versus when you're serving others. We're taught as kids that serving others is the way to go because that's being unselfish. But we're not taught that, yes, you need to be selfish and spend a day at home and don't answer phone calls. Yes, you need to be selfish and go to the movies by yourself. Yes, you need to be selfish and treat yourself to a meal. Yes, you need to be selfish and drop off the face of the earth for a week so you can spend your 27 years, your 27th anniversary with your wife. These are things that we are supposed to do. These are the selfish things that they taught that they did not teach us. I know for me, I wasn't taught to be selfish. My motives were incorrect with my selfishness. So check your motives, okay? Check your motives. But that top 5%, when you're serving your own desires and aspirations, everything else around you will fall into place. What Mishore was talking about earlier is God will take care of the 95%. To me, that's Exodus 14:14. Y'all know that is my favorite Bible verse. I'm going to get that put on a shirt. Because for me, it says, my dear child, I will fight all your battles for you. I just need you to sit your tail down somewhere. Do the work. Be quiet and wait for me to call you. I try to be selfish 2 hours every single day. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The 5% is the work. And if you're not selfish in that 5%, the work goes undone. And for what we are all doing, every single person on this call is doing what they're doing to change lives. You're not doing it because it's fun. You're not doing it because It's just something to do. You're doing it because you want to make the lives of others better. But how can you make the lives of others better if you don't start with yourself? Is the famous, legendary Michael Jackson himself said, start with the man in the mirror. And that's hard for some of us. That 5% is I wish Renee was here, because she said some pretty heavy stuff last night about her top 5%. And I loved it because Renee has the biggest kid spirit that I have seen in a long time. Hers matches, if not goes over mine. And she said, yeah, I'm writing right now. The phone ringing. You're not in my top 5% at this particular moment in time. You may be in Jay's top 5%, but you're not in mine right now. I'm going to finish this writing. Y'all know how hard that is to do? But she did it, it just flowed from her. And I'm like, man, I wish I could pay more attention to my 5%. So today I want to talk about selfish service. Not the negative selfish service, but the selfish service that's necessary for growth. The top 5% is you prioritizing your desires and aspirations. And it's not about immediate gratification. It's about long-term personal growth and gratification. Your selfish service is you nurturing your own passions and dreams, not just finding fulfillment and happiness, but becoming more empowered and capable. See, in this selfish service, if for the sakes of others, you must be your best. The 5% is the wisdom, opportunity, respect, responsibility, and knowledge. It is the work. Thank you, Mishore. Thank you. You know what? That work, I'm going to need you to put that on a shirt. And then underneath, in smaller letters, have what it says. But what I am learning is, we all know no is one sentence. It's a complete sentence. But do we actually say no? Do we actually say no? So when you allocate what your 5% is, do you allocate it based on the 3 questions? Let me rephrase this question. For everyone's 5%, have you guys allocated your 5% based on the questions that the original humor consultants gave us and the definition of what the top 5% is based on what Antonio told us? Or are you slick side sliding in some extra stuff because you think it's in your 5% because you don't know how to say no?
First of all, so okay.
I love you too, Grace. I love you too. I do understand. I'm asking that question because you have to be, for those with kids, you have to be just as stern with your no to yourself as you are with your no to your kids.
Deanna,
Yes, sir.
my brain is telling me,
Uh-oh.
oh yeah, my brain talking to me. My brain is saying to me, I get the top 5%. I get that. I get the 95%. I get that. But prior to, let's say, a year ago, 2 years ago, there wasn't a 95 or 5%. Now, all of a sudden, you mofos, run by Antonio T. Smith Jr., okay, said, hey, pay attention. There's a 5% and there's a 95%. There is? Oh, and you got to put them in perspective. in order for you to be successful. I do. Damn it. I do. Oh, okay. Yeah. And listen to me. I'm not resisting it, nor am I saying it ain't worth anything. I think it is, and I think it has a purpose and essence. Here's the deal. I'm still trying to figure all this crap out, and I'm trying to figure me out. Because I'm the one that's thinking all this crap and trying to execute it. Hello? Is anybody else listening and trying to... Let me tell y'all something, okay? And we're going to keep it 100. If we're going to keep it 100, okay?
Come on, Karami.
When I got up this morning to go to Sam Club, because every Tuesday I go to Sam Club. That's why sometimes I'm back before. We get on sometime. Every Tuesday I'm at Sam Club. This morning I said, Jerome, this is your morning, okay? You've been playing around with this for almost 5 years. You're going to start this today. Do you hear me? And I went through some stuff and boom, 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 boom. You're going to make this. You got too much to do, homeboy. And you got to get on track. And this is going to distract you. Boom, boom, boom. Today, that day, right? And I'm smiling. I'm feeling good. You're going to be on the call for about an hour, 2 hours. And then you're going to have about 3 or 4 hours. And you better kick this thing in the butt. I had it all laid out. Then I get on the damn call. And I look in the notes section. I said, what the hell? Y'all done changed the whole damn schedule moving forward. Listen to me. I ain't even mad at you because I said this. I'm the one that prophesied this, that it was good. These words came out of my mouth. Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth? And I'm sitting there going, is there a problem, Jerome? Oh, hell no, because those words came out of my mouth. Maybe I had some insight that I didn't know I had the insight with, and now here's the revelation of that insight. Now what you going to do? Am I going to sabotage what I said I was going to do today? Oh, hell no, I'm not. But guess what? Where the hell did all that come from? So I'm keeping it 100 with everybody on the damn... Now I'm going to shut up for a minute and let somebody else talk.
No, it's wonderful, Uncle Romy, and I thank you because you've been saying for a minute before Antonio said anything. He was like, "Hey, y'all, just all gonna change. Y'all better get it while it's getting hot." You said it for years, and then the top 5%. I'm with you on that. I was like, "Well, why this come?" Because when Antonio first talked to me about when he first told me, he said it in conversation. Before he actually started teaching it, he said it in conversation with me. And we was talking, he was talking to me and he was telling me something. And I think something happened. I can't remember what happened. And he was like, I'm not dealing with unhealed people anymore. They're not in my top 5%. And it was just in conversation. It's the first time I heard it. And he was like, they're not my top 5%. And I was like, top 5%. I was like, well, he's still fooling with me. So I guess I'm in that top 5%. Let me behave. Because how many of you know you can be in a relationship with somebody and they ain't in your top 5%? All right. As long as y'all know, okay? And we were having another conversation. He was like, yeah, he said, you in my top 5%, Monique and the kids in my top 5%, and this is my top 5%, but I'm not fooling with that. That's not my top 5%. I'm not doing that today. And it just kept coming up in conversation. And I'm sitting here and mind you, I catch things. I sit quiet on purpose and I catch things. And I was catching what he was saying. I'm like, okay, so he's saying, and because when he talked about his 5%, he would list the things that were in his top 5%. And I was sitting there, I'm like, okay. Because y'all know I'm in competition with him, not unhealthy competition. He's like, right now, he's the hare and I'm the tortoise. But trust and believe, the tortoise always catch up with the hare. I'm coming, Antonio, I'm coming. Once we know better, we must do better, period. And he kept talking about what was in his top 5%. I was paying attention to the stuff he was saying was in his top 5%. I was paying attention to the names he listed in his top 5%. I was paying attention to the things that he said was not in his top 5%. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense too, because I understood what he was saying. He was saying, in order for me to reach where I want to go, there are people, places, and things that will help me get there. Those are my top 5%. But there are vibrations that I will no longer deal with. I'm no longer allowing these things in my life. Those are my 95%. He told y'all sometime last week when his mom calls him, when Aunt Lucy called him. Now, y'all know when people text you and call you, you could feel what kind of conversation that's going to be before you even answer, just based on the name. So when his Aunt Lucy called him, he can tell, you know what, this is my 5%. Let me answer this. And he can tell, okay, this is not in my top 5%. I will call my mama later. You have to do that, regardless of who it is. There's been a couple of times he told me, he said, look, you are in my top 5%, but what you're doing right now is not. And I'll be like, you know what? You so right. You so right. Yes, sir. Mind you, that when he says that to me, that's for me. Because it's telling me, hey, take note. Because he's not saying you not. He's saying what you're doing is not. So how many people in your life are you allowing in your top 5%, regardless of what their vibration is? You can allow them in your top 5%, but their vibrations, you don't have to. I love my kid. I do. He is in my top 5%. But there are certain vibrations that he has that are not in my top 5%. And I have a conversation with him like, hey, we're not doing that today. I will shut everything down. You will sit there and stare at your beautiful mother. Keep playing with me. I've done it before. And he hates it with a passion. Those are his consequences. So your top 5% is to serve you. And no, it's not easy because I'm 40. For 39 and a half years, yes, y'all heard me, 39 and a half, I have allowed every vibration. So my hormones, my emotions, my little connector thingies inside of my body, the what are they called, Antonio? I'm so sorry, the connector thingies, neurons.
Neurons, okay.
Neurons, synapses, all those things. They have gotten used to certain chemical responses and reactions from my body when my emotions switch, be it negative or positive. It's 39 years. So for the last 6 months, I've been trying to retrain myself for these things not to connect. Like, hey, don't connect there, connect here. Hey, don't do that. Do it over here. Hey, you're missing some spots right here. You used to fill them with this, fill them with something else. So it's not easy to say, well, for some people, because Antonio is different. We know he's of a different breed. If he say it's done, it's done. If I say it's done, like, well, let's try one more time. And that's what you don't do with your 5%. Okay. Ain't no more try one more time. It's a you have officially went from 5 to 95. I love you though. But I'm gonna love you way over there. Renee said something so wonderful. And that's why I love her kid spirit, because if y'all pay attention to Renee, when God says, come to me as a child, just look at Renee. Just look at Renee. Because she picks up on, she does exactly what children do. She learns something, she does it, And then she's excited when she gets it. She said yesterday, yeah, that's not my top 5%. I'm writing right now. This phone call is not a part of my 5%. My top 5% is going to the store. So when I go to the store, I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to come home now, I'm going to start working on something else that's in my top 5%. She picked up on it so easily. You have to be selfish. Selfish service is okay. Selfish service is absolutely perfect. And it's not the negative selfish, it's the selfish that's necessary for growth. And think of for my Christians, my biblically rooted ones, the ones that the Holy Bible is the only book that you should ever read in your life. Just think Exodus 14:14. God is telling you, hey, I got the 95%. You do the work in the 5%. How do I know what's in my 5%, God? Well, look, how do you feel when you do it? Does it bring you joy or does it frustrate you? Does it bring you peace? Or do you...
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ibrahim.
talking about selfish service, I remember this anecdote from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said there was this writer at our university who was very effective at his job. And once I went to him with my mess, like, hey, I need this written, this written, this written, and it was urgent. It wasn't important, but it was urgent. So it seemed important. I went there and the guy took me to like a whiteboard or something, which had like 100 or so projects, like all with their deadlines written right there. And he said, Mr. Covey, which one of these would you like me to be late on by accommodating your stuff? Like, if you want me to prioritize your stuff, can you by your own hands remove a project that I'll not be able to do because of you? If you can do that, I can accommodate your work. And Stephen Covey was like, all right, I'm going to find someone else to do it, no problem.
I love that. That brought my whole soul joy. Hey, Grace. So I got all this right here, right? And you need me to do that because it's urgent for you. So which one of these do you want me to remove off my list so I can take care of what you need to take care of? That applies to everybody. Your parents, your uncles, your aunties, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters. That applies to everybody.
You made Tracy turn on her camera.
But she raised her hand early, so I'm ready. Go ahead, Tracy. And she driving too, so y'all know it's getting good. Tracy turned on her camera while she driving.
Good morning, everyone. Well, what I was hearing in my spirit when we were talking about this, and someone made a comment earlier. The way and what Spirit told me just now was, the scripture says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added unto it." Right. So I'm looking at it like this. I'm looking at it like God has already given me my purpose. God has already given me what I know I need to be doing and working on, right? So to me, that would be my 5%. My 5% is what is according to the plan, his plan, the plan that I have placed for my goals and my dreams, right? And then the 95% will all be added and will be laid out when I'm working according to what I'm supposed to be doing. So like the other night, last night, I was talking about how I was trying to focus on my 5% and not let the 95%, like, the grading of papers and all that stuff bother me. But then I was thinking, okay, well, if I'm fully doing what I need to do with my 5%, with my purpose and my plan, then the time for being able to do the other stuff will come to fruition. Then the other thing somebody said, and I've been listening in the background. not being able to say no. You said something about people not being able to say no. And I put in the comment, I can say no. I don't have a problem with saying no. But a lot of times I hurt people's feelings when I do say no, because sometimes that energy doesn't line up with what I'm trying to do. And I think, well, I don't think, I know that most of the successful people aren't afraid to tell people no. And the people who have a challenge with saying no to people sometimes, I think it's because some people are still looking for approval. Because you mentioned like from parents or loved ones or things like that, still looking for approval. So it's hard for you to say no to people that you really care about. And then also you don't want to hurt people's feelings by telling people no. And I look at it like this. I'm thinking, well, if I'm telling you no, it's not because I'm just trying to be mean or be selfish. I'm usually telling people no because like I already have plans or already have something on my schedule to where it doesn't line up with what you need me to do. So I'm the type of person where I don't just drop what I already have planned just because you asked me to do something in the last minute or something. And people have always said, we know not to go to Tracy because, she had something planned. She ain't going to just change them, because that's what I believe. I believe if I told you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I personally believe that has been something that has made me highly effective in being productive, because I have been able to I have been able to say, no, I can't do that at this moment. And it's not that I don't care about how they feel, but I'm thinking about it like this. If we go throughout life, always worrying about what other people are going to think or however people are going to feel about us, then we'll really never get to the point of where we're being 100% productive for ourselves, because we're always worried about what other people are going to think and feel. So those are just my points for the morning. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Miss Tracy. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Miss Armstrong.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Armstrong.
That was that teaching ending. Yeah, go with yourselves accordingly.
Ta-ta-ta.
Have a great day.
Go ahead, Renee, and then I'm gonna switch this just a little bit because there's a theme that everybody's been saying, and I want to shift it. Go ahead, Renee.
I love what Miss Armstrong said, because and I feel like I'm getting to that point a little bit later, because I've actually arrived at that point, but it took me. I wasn't always thinking that way. Sometimes I would inconvenience myself just to be like, oh, okay. And then I got to the point I was like, man, bump that. I think that's not necessarily the word that I use, but I'm being PG-13. And just being like, you know what? Sometimes when the 95% comes at you and you be like, oh no, it's okay, I can always do this. When you had the momentum going to get that 5% completed, and here comes the 95, and I'm like, and sometimes I would cater to the 95 instead of the 5, and would end up none the wiser. And I think a lot of times, sometimes I still would feel a little bad about saying no, but then I realized no is a complete sentence. And if you don't like that, then at times you just gonna have to. You can't say, "Well, Renee, I need you to do this last minute." I don't do no last minute. I don't want no. I can't do that, because it just does not fit to where I am going. So, there's a little bit of selfishness that goes along with that. But boy, does it feel good, because you're making yourself a priority. And when you make yourself a priority, I think you're in a much better place, because we do things for other people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we also have to make sure I can't serve Miss Grace, I can't serve Miss Armstrong if I'm empty. So need to make sure that we full so we can overflow and people can get that overflowing blessing. But if we empty, we can't help nobody. Thanks.
Amen. No, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. Okay, Uncle Romy, you said something earlier, then Tracy said something, and Miss Shorn has been on it, and I've said it. Your works. Your top 5% is your works. I've been doing a Bible study with Mr. Antonio's dad, and he been through us a Bible verses at me that I hadn't read before. And one of them was Amos chapter 5, verses 20 through 24. And how we do it is he gives me the Bible verses. I read them. Then I make a note of what I got out of it. And then we have a discussion about it. Y'all, I just connected this dot, like literally on this call, just connected this dot. Your top 5% is your works. And the reason you need to be selfish is because God wants to see the fruit of your work, not the performance, nor the practice of your works. So that top 5% is your work. And Antonio has broken down to us that if it doesn't make you happy, if there's frustration attached to it, that's not in your top 5%. And I always bring it back to the fig tree. I tell y'all that fig tree scares the hell out of me, okay? That daggone fig tree, man. Because from a distance, that fig tree looked so beautiful. It was so full. Looked like it had some good fruit on it too. The kind of fruit that when you bite into it, just the juices spray everywhere because it's so full. And then Jesus come up on it like, wait a minute, you look good. You practice a good practice. You perform a good performance. But where's your fruit? Our top 5% is the work to produce the fruit. If it's not in production of your fruit, you don't do it. What is your fruit? I don't know what your fruit is. But from everybody on this call, I believe your fruit would be disciples of what you are doing.
Can I jump in there right there?
Yes, you can. Come on.
You are some beautiful people. I'm telling you, I every day now, every time I come in this group, I've come to realize that, God has saved you all for me to come to be able to hear you saying things that God revealed to me so long ago, and to hear it coming from you. And the reason I'm 62 years old, and I always felt that I was an alien out here and fighting this battle and looking for other people that thought and believed like I was believing. And to hear you all saying what you're saying, I'm going to tell you something. I just want to add to what you've already said. Work, the 9 fruits of the Spirit, is exactly your 5%. It is the evidence that God has given you to do. You are working it out. You will see the evidence of the 9 fruits of the Spirit at work when you apply the 9 fruits of the Spirit. But I'm going to give you this twist that God gave me 20 years ago about the 9 fruits of the Spirit. And this is only for people who are willing to really work at allowing the work of the fruits of the Spirit to work for you. God told me to take the 9 fruits of the Spirit and invert it. I inverted the 9 fruits of the Spirit. When you invert the 9 fruits of the Spirit, something remarkably happened when God told you. He told me to invert it. So, love is the greatest of these. That's Ephesians. That's Galatians 5:22. It says love is the greatest of these. Then God told me to invert it. And when I inverted it, self-control was at the top. We must work on our self-control. when we work on our self-control and go from self-control all the way back down to love, you discover that love is the greatest of these. I hope y'all caught that. I hope each and every one of you caught that. That has been the blessing in my life. When God told me to invert the 9 fruits of the Spirit and work on my self-control in all my work. And my work on my self-control. And then he told me to work from that all the way back to love. And then Galatians 5:22 says, love is the greatest of these, meaning love will be the greatest thing you get from the work you put into the 9 fruits of the Spirit, starting with self-control. There it is. Love you all.
Love you more. Thank you so much, Mishore, and thank you.
That's so true. If you don't have self-control, then everything's going to mess up and the love won't be there. Or it could be the wrong kind of love.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said.
When'd you say that? That wasn't you.
Michon, you ain't alone. I'm glad you said something.
It was the man in the hat.
Yes, sir. I got brother. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here, bro. I'm here, and I'm thanking God for all of you all. I'm really thanking God for all of you.
Well, there's another way.
I got one more thing to say to Mr. Smith. Is he still on or did he leave?
He's
there
still
he is. And don't tell him I said this, Deanna. The last week when he had to fly out, I knew that was coming, so I wasn't surprised about that. And the decision to shift things didn't surprise me at all. And it just, everything kind of went, and God said, Jerome, I told you this was coming. So I know you're not surprised. But what? But what? Nothing, Lord. Nothing, Lord. I have nothing to say because it's like he motivated me to make a decision. Then when I decided to make the decision, then he went bam, and I went, you got to do it that quick? You could wait a couple of weeks, couple of months, till next year? Right. No, bam, and I went, Lord, that was kind of quick, wasn't it? So part of me is extremely excited, and a part of me is like, what the hell is going on? Because I haven't traveled these waters before, but we walk by faith and not by sight. And the journey since 1979 has been pretty good. So I'm going to trust him for the rest of the journey. Hey.
And Jerome, can I just drop this acronym for you? Because you say we walk by faith. We military guys, right? So in the military, they teach us all these acronyms. So you ready for this acronym?
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Faith. Father's always in thy heart.
Okay.
Walk by faith.
I received that, brother. Yes.
When you walk by faith, you understand that the Father is always in thy heart.
Yes, sir.
Then there's no battle that you cannot go up.
Come on,
there's
man.
no one you cannot stand before. There's no one you can stand before that can come against you when you're confident. Again, Father is always in thy heart.
Watch yourself now. Watch yourself.
Yes, sir.
That's all, period.
I'm still in that one today.
It's yours.
You will see a post.
And when Tracy said you'll see a post, you will see a post. Trust and believe. Go ahead, Mr. Phil.
Another way to look at this is Tony Robbins says change is 25% how-tos, 75% why-tos. Well, I disagree with that formula. I think it's 20% how-tos, 30% why-tos, but 50% will-tos. Do you have the willpower? Do you have the self-control? Because you can know how to do something and you can know why to do something, but if you don't have the self-control, the discipline to do it, it ain't going to happen. Yeah. And it's interesting, willpower, there's a physiological component to willpower. When you're tired, you have less willpower. When your glucose levels are down, you have less willpower. When you have alcohol in your body, you have less willpower. So it's 50% willpower, or as John was saying, self-control, 30% why tos, and then it's only 20% how tos.
Amen, brother. You hit it right on the nose. You knocked out right out the park, bro.
There we go. And that will to, boy, and that will to is
Also, that quote is going to be in Phil and Susan's next book. That quote is going to be in Phil and Susan's next book. Okay?
whoop,
This
whoop.
is more information.
All right, y'all heard what he said. Y'all heard what Ibrahim said. It's gonna be in their next book. And that will to is when selfish service is extremely important. Because if you're tired, you're not gonna have the will to do anything. How, by show of hands, how many of y'all have been physically exhausted and you have sat down to do some work and your brain was like, I'm not doing this? How many of you have been hungry, like that hunger pain, and you sitting here was, you know what, I'm gonna work until this. And you sitting there and your hunger is louder than your will to keep working. It's just me, Grace, and Renee. So we the eaters. Yeah, I just realized that my shirt is inside out. Okay. I'm the shiny things. I'm sorry, y'all. There was a squirrel. A squirrel just ran by the screen real quick.
Hey,
Go ahead, Ibrahim.
the-
Uh-oh. You cutting in and out on us. Uh-oh.
I noticed that if I can.
Oh, we can't hear you, Ibrahim. You cutting in and out on us. Dang it. Oh, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Nice and clear.
And I'm gonna talk.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. Until we can get Ibrahim back. So this, as you see, that selfish service is important. That 5% is you being.
Hey, Deanna, you should be able to hear me better now.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was saying I've noticed that if I'm dehydrated, I cannot write properly. If I have problems, my
You're cutting in and out.
If I can do much, it's like, oh. So, you know what? I'm gonna type it out. I'm gonna type it out in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, because we want to hear what you have to say. And like some moments you're clear, and then you start getting choppy again. So definitely, and I'll read it out loud. Antonio said his philosophical formula for this 5% is recognize the inherent perfection in the seemingly imperfect. The formula encapsulates the essence of Smith Jr.'s teachings. Go away so I can see. Let me spread it. Okay. At its core, it suggests that the universe in all its manifestations embodies a state of perfection. Our task is not to judge, change, or correct, but to recognize its underlying perfection, even in situations or circumstances that seem imperfect on the surface. The mathematical formulas only pay attention to the 5% in your life. T is going to represent the total energy or experiences of one's life. So the focus is the 0.05% energy. The contrast is the 0.95% energy. Focus is the energy or experiences that are aligned with one's divine purpose or destiny, and the contrast is the energy of experiences that serve as a backdrop, allowing for the recognition of the 5%. Okay, so it is safe to say that the 95% is the contrast, not the focus. It's what makes the focus. Correct me if I get off, Antonio, but the 95% is what makes the 5% stand out. Did I get that right?
No, I mean, yeah,
I see
you're
your
right.
hand, Trinace.
Yeah, you're right. It's right now you're in the camera. If 95% of your environment looked like you, then I couldn't see you. I get to enjoy the image of you because everything that is not you is visible, such as our breakthroughs. We get to enjoy our breakthroughs because everything around us is not a breakthrough. We get to enjoy our children because everything around us is not our children. So when you pay attention on that divine 5%, that is for Trinace, that is just for your walk, your purpose, then that's the only total energy that you should be spending, because the rest is not personal. It is there to enjoy me, Sean. Without it, I couldn't enjoy it. If your entire background looked exactly like you, I would never be able to identify who you are.
I like that. That actually made
It's quantum physics.
Antonio, that's spot on, man. That is majorly spot on. See, we don't have to worry about the 95. God got that. It's a thing about stay in your lane. Okay, the 5% is our lane, but 95 is God's. So many of us want to get in God's lane. Okay, when the 5% is our lane, and it will give you this acronym for focus. You know, that's gonna be one of my new books, man. I got to do all these acronyms, man. I got all these acronyms and everything. So, acronym for focus: follow one course until successful. See, when you focus on your 5%, you just focus on your 5%. And you get a success. Follow one course until successful. Thanks, Antonio. Appreciate that.
I know, absolutely. And I know you're finna get to Trinace, but Grace, that 95% is not personal. It's supposed to be there. It's the universe alive, so you can enjoy that thing. It has to be. But right now, I'm looking at Prophet Jerry and Renee, look like they're exercising. Without the concrete and the asphalt that they didn't do, somebody else put there. Somebody else energy did that. Someone else total time did that. Someone else put the electricity. God put the oxygen and the trees. Everything else around them is some other battle that's just serving them. It's just a footstool in Jerome's readings that is allowing them to step up higher. That's the 95%. That's every single thing else on this planet is just here for Adonia to enjoy her present. That's it. I think you gotta get Trinace and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we so busy worried about the 95%, we forget about the 5%. Go ahead, Trinace, if you're available.
So I'm going to say I really appreciate this 5% conversation. And I really appreciate it because as I dig more and more into it, cutting off certain things that I just do because I know that they are distractions from my 5%. And the other thing is there are certain people who are not liking my conversation about the 5%. Just because, I mean, it ain't important to me if I say no to you. Don't you dare ask me why, because, you know, we had that conversation the other day. I don't owe you nothing. Because if you ask me why, that means you're trying to manipulate me into getting a yes out of me. And I'm just not about to play these games with you. Just not. And I had that conversation with a really good friend, and I'm learning more and more that maybe our friendship will have to change, because I mean, I love her, but I don't really like her energy.
That
I
comes
mean, I
with the
love,
territory.
yeah, I love her, but I don't like her energy. I don't like, well, you have to explain to be nice. I don't have to be nice. My no is no. And if your feelings hurt, that's your trauma. That ain't mine. And I mean, to some people that may say is maybe, you mean, but my focus, I just birthed a baby in September. And when you consider that was a 9-month process, and now how my creativity is coming, how ideas are coming, how new thought processes are clicking into place, 5% just definitely makes sense to me. That's all I'm saying. Literally, if you consider how many months it led up to that event, that was exactly 9 months, right? 9 months. I just birthed something. And now I'm raising my baby with all of these things that I'm working on. So I don't really have time. I do have time for my anime and my Asian series, but not so much. I do need a break. But if I get my sunflower seeds, I don't be hungry. See, get you a snack that fights the hunger.
Snacks
That's
are
it.
good.
But y'all got me today. I'm on mail all week. My window is blacked out.
It's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be a good week. We got Trinae's uninterrupted all week. It's gonna be a good week. Once we get Tracy out that classroom, then between Tracy and Trinae's.
Listen, okay.
Okay, so that's all right then. So that's listen. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up out the classroom, the cutting off. Me and Deanna was talking private message. So let's explain this cutting off, but I gotta back up a little bit to explain this idea of being mean. Can you be mean? Sure. Can you not be mean? Sure. It's up to you. That's your free will, however you want to do that. That's completely up to you. It's 100% up to you how you decide to live your life. That's your free will. Nobody can ever do anything about it. And neither one of those are imperfect or bad. That's just not how life works. It's how your mother taught you, but it's not how this universe works. If Tracy wants to be mean today, she can. If Tracy wants to be nice today, she can. These are just vibrations. These are just words that we don't know the frequency for mean. We don't know the frequency for nice, so we call it mean and we call it nice. We don't go 108.36776541. Like, we don't do that. We just say mean. That's all it is. Just know there is a harvest for mean and there is a harvest for nice. It's as simple as that. You do whatever you want, but that's how the universe works. Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. That's just what it is. If you're nice, you're going to attract in the principle of multiplication a bunch of nice things. If you're mean, you're going to attract in the principle of multiplication a bunch of mean things. That has, boom. Saying that jumps into this cutting things and people off. All right. No. You go first, Tracy, because kids might come in okay, you want me to go? Okay. This idea of cutting people off. Let's go back to the mathematical formula of T just equals total energy. 5% is your divine focus, whatever that is, whatever your divine focus is. I'm not saying God gave it to you. I'm not saying it was predestined. I'm just saying it's divine to you. And then there's 95% background. That's just energy so you can enjoy this whole thing. You don't have to cut people off. You're just releasing them into the background with love. I am so grateful that you are here. Apparently, I called forth an experience. I don't like this experience no more. It's not personal. Energy can never be created, can never be destroyed. In Trinace's case, she has a friend that she don't like energy no more was the understood statement there. But when Trinace was as negative as her friend, she loved that energy. But now Trinace has elevated. It sounds like over the past 3 or 4 years, this elevation
I didn't
has
even notice she was negative.
didn't even
I
notice.
didn't
I
even
hear.
notice.
didn't even notice. She was like, didn't
When
even
you get a
notice.
promotion into a new realm, you start noticing different things that
Well,
you
That's
can
right.
I
own.
didn't even notice. I was
When
like,
you get a
"Man."
promotion by God, you get a new, you look at things and you see things differently.
But guys,
Mm.
she didn't
Thank
even know
God,
she was
thank
negative.
God for promotion.
Yeah.
'Cause, ooh,
Yeah.
I didn't even know, and we don't even talk now so much. I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, I'm about to go walk King. I'll talk to you later. Because
Yeah.
you know, King is my excuse. If I tell any of you all
That's
I'm
her
about
dog.
to walk King, and I'm
And I'm
in
gonna have Phil repeat what
conversation.
he just said too. Yeah, because Phil just said something powerful. Say it again, Phil.
She didn't know she was negative.
Trinace didn't even know she was negative. She walking around thinking she positive the whole time.
Amen, Phil. That's well
So I
said.
didn't think she was positive. I just thought she was in discontent.
No, Trinace, she didn't think she was negative.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's true.
Grace, we're releasing people. We're releasing experiences back into the background of things. Like right now, y'all, in the deep sea of the ocean, there's some whale, some fish that has died and has floated down, and then it is being devoured by pressure and other marine animals, and then they're defecating in the water, and then they're creating plankton, and if it wasn't for this process, there'd be no oxygen on planet Earth. But nobody here cared about anything I just said because you're not a marine biologist. That's just 95% of this wonderful, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof thing going on. That ain't got nothing to do with Jerome. Right now, the moon is doing something incredible, and it's controlling the tides. And it is genuinely, sailors are paying very close attention to it. Like sailors need this moon to pay, and whoever is an astronomer is paying attention to the moon. But you know what? Grace don't care, because the moon ain't closing no sales, because the moon has nothing to do with Najee's experience, Najee's candles, Najee's sermons, or anything. It's just the wonderful things of this world that has nothing to do with Renee's divine 5%. I don't know what Deanna's focused on. I just know right now, doing a great job, giving her very all, is divinely in her 5%. Does it matter what her son is doing right now? And she says, yes, it shouldn't. Because you can only control one thing at a time, and to control anything is to fear everything.
Antonio.
Yes, sir. Back to
when
you,
you
Deanna.
made that statement just
Tracy
a
wants to
moment
go.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tracy, you be all right, girl. I got you. When you made that statement earlier, just a moment ago, about releasing that 95% into the background,
That's it.
something inside of me went, no, he didn't. Something inside of me said that, like, because Jerome, that's what you do sometimes, is that you don't release it. You holding on to it.
That's right.
No wonder you can't get the 5% done. You hold on to the background crap. You need to let that go so you can focus on. So you just, and Mrs. Smith, we got to smack you,
yes, sir,
because you said that and kept on talking. And I said, no, he need to repeat that. We need to let it go. It's part of us, but we need to let it go into the background.
That's right.
So that the 5% can shine.
That's right.
We trying to hold on to it with the 5%, and we confused. I know I'm confused.
That's right.
Antonio, I don't want to be confused.
I know that's right. That's frustrating. To be confused is frustrating. Yeah. Go ahead, Tracy, real quick. Go ahead, because I know people, and I want to say one more thing.
No, I'm good. I ain't got no students today. See how God be
Oh,
working?
look at
I'm just
God.
saying, I'm here all day. But That's what you answered what I was going to ask, because I was going to ask, is it mean to be selfish? Because we were talking about, being mean to people, cutting people off, but the fact when you said, I just was going to say what Jerome said, releasing people to the background, that doesn't necessarily mean you're cutting them off. But at this moment, you are not my focus.
That's right.
That don't mean I'm cutting you off. You back
no.
here right now because I'm focused on this. This is my destination, and you're not trying to go with me to my destination. So you got to get behind me right now, because if you ain't with me and going with me, then get behind me. You ain't like half of my family. Hey, I ain't cutting you off. I'm still gonna come to, when I have time, I'm still coming to the functions. I'm still be there. However, it is based on my time, not y'all's. And you said how mean attracts mean and nice attracts nice. And I was thinking, my light just went off. But I was just thinking, well, I don't want to attract mean because I don't want to be mean. But then you actually answered my question, because I'm not a mean person, but it may come across mean to people if I'm not according to their timeline. But like, I'm a very nice person, so I feel like me being nice gets nice back, and that's gonna override any time that I have to seem mean to someone because I didn't put them as the
I'm gonna address
focus.
that.
And
I'm gonna address
in
that
the
in a second.
background.
I'm gonna address that in a
Thank you.
second. I got you.
I'm good.
Okay, go ahead, Ibrahim. You look nice today too. Go ahead, Ibrahim. Okay, Deanna, help me out here. We're gonna do this together, because you did a good class.
Antonio,
Start talking. Oh
may
yeah, go
I-
ahead, Ibrahim. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just saying that my brother made the mistake when we were young of making our parents proud. And then what happened is, in like third grade, he got really good marks. I didn't. So the rest of our childhood, I was free to play, and he was always expected to get good grades. Okay. And he had to fulfill those expectations. So he ruined his own childhood by setting up impossible expectations for himself. And what we have done is, our friends, we have spent 18, 20, 30 years teaching our friends to expect random stuff from us. Like, they can come up at any time, ask anything of us. We have set that expectation with 18 to 20 to 30 years of being complacent and being agreeable and being open and being available. So when we all of a sudden go against those expectations in a moment and just say, hey, I'm not available, that gives a shock. Okay. That's what makes them think that something personally that they have done, or you're personally changing up on them. So it's very easy if you're just tactful and mindful and alter the expectations around us. And I believe that's the path to go. Once your friends expect you to be busy or too busy to handle just any random request, they won't be as personally butthurt when you say no. But you cannot change up on them so quickly and so abruptly and so bluntly, because that will come off as mean. Because you are the one who set up that expectation that you will be available by being available before. And suddenly you get on Antonio's call and you learn that, hey, saying no is the key. And you just go and you say, no, F off. Now they're going to take it personally. But if you're tactful and you say, yeah, let me think about it. And then you say, you know what? Turns out I cannot. My schedule is just getting increasingly busy, bro. And then after 2 or 3 slight no's, they know not to expect you to say yes. And then you can just get away with saying no without coming off as rude, without personally hurting another human being, and without getting off your 5%. But you should make it a part of your 5% to master the art of saying no tactfully.
Absolutely, to that last part for sure. But if we can just pause for somebody to say something, can we just let everything he just said sit right here? Can we just like slow clap until we get to a loud roar? Because that was amazing, especially the whole parent thing and the expectation. Oh my God. That was powerful. Two brothers raised the same way, but expectations ruined somebody's childhood and not the other.
That happened to me. I kept getting the good grades.
It happened to me.
Why can't y'all be like Jerome?
But
Yes,
that
sir.
that story caused me to jump all the way to the Cain and Abel conversation. Okay, Cain and Abel. All right, this is for me. I'm gonna talk for me. Okay, I've realized that I have to be aware of the Cains in my life. Okay, let me say that again. We have to be aware of the Cains in our life. See, Cain became envious of Abel, not understanding the favor God had showed Abel. And so sometimes you could be getting favor from God, and you got Cains around you who's envious or sin. And see, no one talks about Abel went with Cain. See, if Abel had known what was going on with Cain, he could have, hold up, bro. You know, don't be upset with what I'm getting. Hold up, dude. You don't know. We have to be careful about the Cains around us, because sometimes those Cains may set us up and can do what Cain did to Abel. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Antonio, I see the smile on your face. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? There are Cains that we allow to exist in our life that destroy us from our 5% responsibility that God is calling us to do. No one talks about Abel had a purpose. Abel had a purpose, but we sometimes allow Cains to destroy us or keep us from our purpose. I'm out. That's all. I just had to drop that in there.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw down a bunch of alley-oops. I wrote down 4 things. 3 of them Tracy brought up, and then 1 was just brought up. Let's start with the end one then. Same energy, Joseph and his brothers. Joseph was called, right? Oh, you're gonna be great, Grace. You're gonna be greater than everybody else. Joseph couldn't handle his Josephness.
He could not. I'm gonna need you to keep that to yourself, Joseph.
He was too loud with his anointing.
He was.
And the brothers couldn't handle their brotherness. They had a problem with his anointing. So you got the two. Right?
And the father couldn't handle it either.
And the father couldn't handle it either. Father couldn't handle it either, right? For sure. So I'll go for that one. Tracy said something when I said, you just released into the background. Listen, Jerome, I'm not saying nothing no different than your Bible is saying. See, this is why I love the Quran. Every time I hear me talk, I'm always bringing the Quran, Bible, something. I do it real slick ways. Jerome, Jesus didn't say, stop being evil. Stop being, no. Get ye behind me into the background, Satan. You're not paying attention. I know you're going to still be there. I fully understand living this life. Opposition and adversary will wait for an opportune time. I'm not asking you to get under my feet, all them little songs y'all got. I'm not asking to stomp you out. I'm saying get in my 95%. Jerome, in my line, does it not say get ye behind me?
Tracy was preaching.
Okay.
I heard them scriptures.
Okay. Get behind me. There's something about Jesus that recognize just the character, right? Just recognize, look, this gonna always be here. The pool will always be with you, but it don't have to be in my reality. I give you another example of that. Here is this guy, Yeshua, and he goes into this pool of Bethesda, and the text says it's a bunch of lame people, paralytic people, depending on your version, Jerome. Bunch of them. Jesus walks past all of them and talks to one. Because, well, I can't say because, but I can strongly argue it was with intent to get to the one person. Everybody else,
it was his turn.
It was his turn. Everybody else wasn't in the 5%. Uh-oh. I'm going somewhere with this.
Watch it, Reverend.
I can't control Ibrahim getting blessed all the time. That ain't my 5%. You're missing. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. Sometimes Allah just walk past everybody else. Say, Ibrahim, you good? Come on, bless you. Oh man, see. This universe consistently walks past Antonio and finds Susan, and that ain't personal. It's not personal. It's just alignment for that present moment. What happens is when I get jealous of Susan, then that present moment gets repeated because now it's a seed. See, it's not a seed.
Antonio, then tell
Come
me,
on, man.
did this man sin or did his parents sin?
Neither. This is happening so I can look good, is what the text say. So the glory of God can be manifest. I swear to God, that's what the text say. This is happening so I can show off. I need people talking about me. So I created this little thing here so I can shine in front of everybody. Tracy, also, you said, like, being selfish. Let me help y'all out. Everybody here was born selfish. You were born selfish on autopilot. You came out of the baby ready to eat. Somebody's going to clean me up.
We're born with sin, the sin nature.
Okay, so sin nature, selfish. In this particular case, I'm using them two different ways, so let's do both. This idea of selfish has been hijacked so much that we make it bad. Now, to what Susan said, this idea of sin nature has been hijacked so much, we want to act like we ain't got it. Not me, Susan. I mean, not me. No. Be more like Peter. Is it I? Is it I, Lord? One of y'all gonna trade me. Everybody else was like Antonio, not me. Not me. Peter, is it I? Because I be tripping. I ain't gonna lie to you. I Peter instantly recognized I be tripping. And the last thing, and get ready, down. The last thing, Trinace hit the nail on the head when she said, when I say no, people get mad. And she recognized they're trying to control her. I thought that was great. When Trinace says no, and somebody gets mad, Trinace has to monitor, how does she say no? If she did something to inflict someone's programming, that's her karma. Doesn't matter if she doing the right thing, that's her karma. If she said no and it inflicted someone's programming, and she can look at her action and go, well, I just said no, I wasn't being rude, and I'm still offended. That's my programming. That has nothing to do with Trinace. It has absolutely nothing to do with Trinace, and you can't fix it. You can't pray it away. You can't pray away my demons. They mine. I'm going to keep them because I identify. Jerome, as soon as I release my demons, Tracy, I don't even know who I am no more. A lot of us struggle for so long because if I release the struggle, I have an identity crisis. I've been struggling so long. I don't even know how to be. Don't even know how to be American without struggling. Don't even know how to be Muslim, Christian without struggling.
Antonio,
yes, sir.
Reward stopped being proportionate to effort 263 years ago. With the Industrial Revolution, effort and success were no longer linked. People who put in most of the effort weren't always the most successful. And this has been true since 263 years ago.
Facts.
And yet, we did need people to put in effort. It's just that to be successful, you didn't need to put in effort, but society still needed effort to function. So we propagandized this whole idea of effort as integral to being. So we don't feel at ease when we're not putting in effort. And when success comes and it comes too easy, we become suspicious. But that's the effect. This is the byproduct of education system and how middle class mentality. This is the byproduct of that. But if we were to look at how effort yielded rewards, 263 years ago was the last time you would get reward proportionate to your effort. Back when, you had to make shoes with your own hands. Now it's no longer the case, especially with the internet. Yet effort, the gospel of effort, still persists.
Oh, that sounds like a book. The gospel of effort. That's great. That's great. Yeah, it's back on you.
Hondas?
I'm gonna try and save you. I'm gonna try and save you, D. Tracy got a hand up.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tracy. I ain't coming behind that.
Well, I was just gonna go back to what he was talking about, and it's actually something you said earlier, Deanna. Like when we were born, not when we were being raised, we're taught that we're supposed to, not be selfish. That selfish was bad. And then when you said that earlier, I was thinking, yeah, we're taught sharing means caring. Y'all heard that? Sharing means caring. So if you don't share your time, if you don't share your energy, if you don't share your attention, then it's like you don't care, because we've always been taught sharing is caring. So that makes people feel like you don't care if you don't share your time when I'm asking for it. So I'm going to change that whole phrase now when I'm talking to little kids and stuff. And it's not necessarily that sharing means caring, because that's not necessarily equating. Because just because I don't share with you right now, that doesn't mean that I don't care about you. And I think as I'm thinking about it, I think that's how my mama feels sometimes. Like if you don't share your time right now, then you don't care. And that's why a lot of times we do stuff for people because we want to show them that we
abuse. That's emotional abuse when somebody does that to you, mother or not. That is absolutely emotional abuse.
That's true, but there's another part of sharing that we don't do in sharing information. So is sharing our time more valuable than sharing information that can have a positive benefit to others? Because sometimes some people will have information and they won't share the information knowing that it can benefit somebody. So sharing is only caring at a certain level for some people.
That's why Deanna was talking about motives. It drives a lot of this stuff here.
Yeah, you definitely have to check your motives when you are being when you're being selfish. You need to check your motives. Are you being selfish because of this? Are you being selfish because you need some self-care? You need to handle
Deanna, when Trinace was saying earlier about her friend being upset, trying to ask her why are you talking, why you treating that way? The thing that came in my head was we teach people how to treat us. And when you make that decision to move forward, now that person is trying to get you back to where you were, because what you gave them wasn't enough. And so they're being triggered. It's not enough. I need more. But in order for me to give you that, then what's happening is I got to go back to where I was, and I'm moving forward. So now you're in that quandary. You're in that dichotomy where it's like, wait a minute, do I stop to explain? Do I stop to share that with them, or do I keep on moving? And so you kind of no, I've moved on. Well, if you're going to move on, then when that person is upset, you can't let that trigger you. Right. Because like Antonio was saying, that's not your baggage to carry unless you want to carry it. And here's the deal. We carry that baggage sometimes, and it's more than we can bear. And that's not cool. That's not good, especially where we're going. So, but we do teach people, and I'm a firm believer in that. We teach people how to treat us, and then when they treat us that way, then we get upset. But we allow them to. If that's not part of your 5%, if that's not helping you get where you need to go, then you need to say to them, guess what? I can't do that. Or that doesn't fit into my realm of what I got to do. I can get back with you later or whatever like that. And if they want to go crazy, they can go crazy. But here's what I got to do. And so I try not to take it personal because I got too much to do. I got too much to do. And listen, I can only carry so much. So why am I carry that too? I can't do that. It's just too much. So Boom. That's what went through my head.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Go ahead, Ibrahim, and then after Ibrahim, Miss Susan.
Okay, for my next collection of essays, one of the essays I'm writing is Your Inner Child is Tired of Your Outer Adult. And in that, I say that when we are born, we are extremely selfish, as Antonio just pointed out. We're thinking only of ourselves. And some of us never grew out of that. We grow up to be completely entitled, C-words. But most of us, we grow up, we develop a theory of mind, we develop empathy, but here's one wrong thing that happens. Each time you say no to other people, you get punished, okay? You get punished with how people treat you, they start to take it personally, they frown, sometimes you get scolded at different stages of growing up. So you get 20 to 30 years of programming where every time you neglect others, you get feedback, you get negative feedback, you don't feel good. But each time you neglect yourself, there's no punishment. No one minds. No one points out that you're being a jerk. No one says you always do this, you always say no. No, there's no emotional blackmail. So you learn to become the anti-child. You become the opposite of child, the other extreme. You're completely thinking about others. Even when you indulge yourself, you go for a self-care routine. So you go for self-care. All right, I'm going to book a massage. I'm going to go to a spa, treat myself. And the first thing you do, you post about it online because you don't know what to feel unless you're getting feedback from outside.
Wow.
You don't know how to feel. So it's all skewed because no one tells you, hey, you said no to yourself. That's bad. But if you say no to mom, dad, teachers, friends, get feedback immediately. So you really get good at saying no to yourself. And then you feel guilty every time you say yes to yourself.
Wow. That's profound.
That is. I'm so ready for that book. Your Inner Child, Tired of Your Outer
profound.
Adult.
That's profound. That he was some feedback loop. Since you don't get it here, you get really good at saying no, and then since you get out there, you get afraid. And that's profound. That's profound. Susan, I think she said you was next.
Yeah, it's funny because my Bible study this morning was really about all of this in its way. It started with walk in victory. And number 1A, reject public sins like drunkenness and things like that. Then the next one was renounce private ones, walk with honesty and integrity. The next one, put on Christ's armor or the armor of God, whatever that is for you. And the next one, and make no provision for the flesh. Don't put yourself in a position to be tempted. Kick sin out of your house. Kick it out. And the next one, lift up your life. Knowing is key to victory. Like Private Ryan, you remember that movie and how he went in and did all this, and then, everyone else died trying to save him. And he felt bad for years. And then he made a trip back there. And he overcame that feeling by going there to that site and knowing in his heart what he was trying to do. But then they came to try to save him. And so he felt that then the rest of his life, he was elevated to do good. Live a life that is worthy of the calling you have received. The upward pull of the magnet is the grace of God, calling us out of this world and seeing face to face eternity.
Look at that. Jan, I believe your class is tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Did I say it right, Grace? Because
It seems
everybody's
to
in
be every
alignment.
day.
Yes.
Yep.
It's freaky.
Is
Good.
if I after I say this, not Najee, you're up, but I've noticed how several times we've been on calls lately, someone has said, "Man, I was just studying this. This came up in my morning studies, or this came up in my prayer, or man, this was like Michonne was saying earlier, 20 years ago, this came up, but everybody thought it was crazy." I pointed out to Antonio that I've been noticing that how this has been happening. And then Miss Susan just said it. So I just want to thank y'all. Hey, Wanderers. How y'all doing?
They don't know what that means. Yeah.
I was trying to read my 5 a.m. notes, so it
No,
was a
that
little,
was perfect. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Najee. Najee. I keep mispronouncing your name, and it don't feel right coming out. Can you say your name for me?
Najee.
Najee. Okay, thank you.
Just
It,
think of the player. That's what I tell people. If you know Najee's music, Najee.
Najee.
Mine is spelled differently, but it's pronounced the same.
Najee.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to straighten out. I was trying to type in the chat and I kind of messed up what I was trying to say. So I wanted to straighten that out. But what I was saying is that, what we were taught in terms of being sharing and caring to others is definitely a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. Also, being taught to be selfish is also a good thing. The reason we get to learning how to be selfish later is because we were never taught how to balance the two. We were only taught one way. I can remember being forced to share my toys with my cousins when they come over. And I'm crying. But that's my favorite doll, mommy. And she's like, listen, if you don't share, you don't get to play with it either. Now, how was that fair? So that taught me to put myself on the back burner and put you first. Fair to say?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's fair.
So my thing is that, wow, I love this topic. I'm glad I got on this morning because I'm just like, wow, learning so much and seeing so much and realizing so much through this discussion is that we simply are not taught the most important thing, and that's how to balance the two. Because it's a beautiful thing to care and share and be thoughtful and kind to other people. But it's a beautiful thing to care and share, be thoughtful and kind to me, right? I just started really intentionally giving myself love, time, saying no, probably over the last year.
And that's not easy. That's not easy.
It's not. Every day you have to make the decision. Somebody had talked about, looking at the phone and seeing who it is. I think it was you, Deanna, looking at the phone and seeing who it is. And you already know based on who's calling, what kind of conversation that's going to be. And some of those conversations, I'm just not interested in having anymore. I have evolved. And it's not to look down on anyone or to say, shame on you, because I was there too at one point. And I'm sure there were some folk who didn't pick up my call when I called. That's okay. I'm all right with that. Thank God I'm here and continuing to be open and to continuing to grow and loving to find balance in all of it. Because it is important to take care of you. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Right.
If you pour from an empty cup, you're pouring out a bunch of mess. You're digging from the bottom and you're not being a contributor to anybody's life or anybody's growth. So I just wanted to drop that in there. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Antonio taught me a long time ago. So I used to have these massive adult temper tantrums.
Child, you had one the other day.
It it wasn't massive though. It wasn't massive.
No, it wasn't massive.
And he used to tell me, he say, "You're just empty." And that used to run me hot when he said it. He said, "You're just empty. You're just empty." Because I tell him all the time, "Don't be analyzing me." But that's what happens when you're empty. And when Najee said you're pouring from a empty cup, not only are you pouring from an empty cup, but when you have debris and stuff, it settled to the bottom. So not only are you pouring from an empty cup, but you're pouring that debris on the people around you too. So they get in the trash at the bottom of your cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were talking about being taught how to be, we haven't been taught how to balance. But what you said, what it also taught us was, okay, if I can't play with my favorite toy and I have to share my favorite toy or I don't get to play with it, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to hide my favorite toy when other people come over so that nobody gets to play with it. And then when they leave, then I can play with my favorite toy because it's my toy. Y'all can ask Antonio. I am adamant about my things.
You're big about that.
If it's mine, if I consider it mine, I don't want to share it. If you see me with a fill-it-in book, don't touch my book. I love you, but don't touch my book. It's my book.
She bought colors and crayons for Don just so he can stay out of her stuff.
Exactly. Now I have shared my pencils with him because he didn't have.
Not without a warning.
Of course he gets a warning. Hey, don't break my pencil. Don't lose my pencils. Because they're mine.
You're teaching respect of someone else's property. He needs to learn that for even at school. So he's learning it from you so that he'll follow that out in public.
Mm-hmm.
But the motives behind it.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you being selfish now because of that? Because when you say it's mine,
is when it's the motives. And this is when I say you got to be careful of your motives when you're being selfish. Be careful of your motives, because the other ones that I said, when I said I was taught like Najee, you have to share. If you don't share, you can't play with it either. So what did that taught me when it came to being selfish? Hide my stuff that I consider mine, so I can play with it whenever I want to, because nobody's going to play with my stuff how I play with it. There's a certain way that I use my stuff. You're not going to use it that way. And if I can't use it because I don't want to share with you, I'm going to hide it. The motives behind that selfishness is not good. But the motives behind me sharing my color pencils with Dawn, hey, look, I'm going to share this with you because I want you to have the same experience that I get to have when I use them. But don't you break my pencils.
Deanna?
That motive is different. Yes, ma'am, Miss Susan.
We need another word for all of this than selfish, because that's a negative word. It shouldn't be a negative thing that we're doing.
And that's the problem. We
need to create another word for that than selfish, because it's not being selfish. It's self-respecting yourself. You're not honoring and respecting your own needs. And if you just start out with that, and sometimes in business, when you have business agreements, that's a little difficult when situations change.
Right.
But if you're both mature about it, then you get through it and make other arrangements. And that happens sometimes in business arrangements. So it starts in childhood with personal things. And then as you go into careers, those things happen in careers, and you see those situations. I can remember, people come and take my pencils off my desk, pens, at the Les Brown thing. I'm like,
Run me hot.
You know, I'm not just sitting here to provide all these things for you. Can you do this? And, you know, no, that's not my responsibility. You know, so you have to learn those things. But if it is your responsibility and commitment, then, you know, those things are on. If I said I was going to get this done before I leave the office, if they need it done before I leave the office, and I got Bible study, I want to be there by 6:30. You know, what do I do? I had that happen many times. And one day a week, you know, but they'd throw stuff on my desk at 5 o'clock and want it. So I'd be there till 7, 7:30, 8 at night, so that the next morning everything looked perfect for everybody. But, you know, there comes a point where and I did that, no, don't do that. This is important to me. And it's a priority, and it is in alignment with the time that I was supposed to do it. So, we have to consider it from all angles and all ages, and whether it's in a personal relationship or a business relationship.
Hey, Susan.
Yes.
I would like to see if you like this word, because I've had to deal with people calling me selfish or, maybe even foolish sometimes, because I seem to, make my priorities seem important to me. And so people put labels and call you. So people put labels and everything that's based on their issues and everything. So they want to make their issues or their terminologies of what you're doing, they place that on you. So what I have learned to say back to people, I'm sorry, but I'm carrying out my obedience. I'm sorry if my obedience seems to offend you, okay? I'm sorry that what I consider to be important to me and my family and my purpose seems to bother you, but this is my obedience, okay? And the reason I say that with the passion is that I found out that, after I've been so obedient, especially, Antonio, in this 2023, after my obedience and the 3 things I've already celebrated, I see other people still envious of my obedience. And I don't be mad at them anymore, because that's their problem. That's not mine. So I do think that the word selfish is a word that I hear from other people, because it's their word. I don't allow their word to be my problem, okay? I say to people, don't be upset at me because I have set my obedience or my priorities to me. So I just wanted to assist you what you were saying there, Susan. I think what you're saying there is on point. Selfish is a word that comes from people who are negatively looking at us and what we're doing. They say that too. And I've heard it so many times. Yeah. You're selfish. Oh, you bet. And I was like, no, I'm just being obedient to what I think is my priority.
There's a lot of good stuff both of y'all just said.
Yeah.
I want to say like 50 things. Just so much good stuff. So much good stuff. You got Tracy hand up, and I'll talk about some of that. I'll come back. I'm gonna write some notes down. Go ahead, Dion.
Hey, Tracy, right before you go, I went to ChatGPT, Carlos, and I said, give me other words that I can use besides selfish. It listed 20 words. I'm gonna share my screen. This is what we've done with the word selfish. So I understand, Miss Susan. It's
been hijacked. Like I said earlier, it's been hijacked.
Look, every last one of these has a negative connotation. Self-centered, egotistic, egocentric, narcissist, inconsiderate, self-serving, self-obsessed, self-seeking, self-interested, egomania. Then I switched it up. And I asked the question, are there any words with a positive connotation that can be used for selfish? And look what it says. While selfish typically carries a negative connotation, there are some words or phrases with a more positive or neutral connotation. Self-care, self-preservation, self-interest, self-sufficiency, individualism. Suck part about it is These 5 words versus those 20 at the top. If you say these people will still take them and turn them negative because you're talking about self. I think it's the part of the word I think it's the self aspect. Because we're talking about self, that's wrong, because we're not taught to talk about us and ourselves.
Let me throw some fire on that real quick. It's what Susan now we got to back up Susan's sin nature. I have to talk about it now, which I typically try to stay all the way from sin nature as possible and all the way from sin. But we got to talk about it now. Dan, I don't care if you're selfish until you don't do what I want you to do. Then I care that you're selfish. This is the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. You ain't doing what I want you to do.
So please keep going, but just know that it's my wickedness that has a problem with your behavior that I'm now titling selfishness. Because I don't want to tell you you're not doing what I want you to do. So I need to blame you so I can feel better about being wicked.
Watch yourself.
Tracy over there. Go ahead, unmute your mic, Tracy. Because she had her hands all in the air.
He said, so I can feel better about my wickedness, so I'm gonna put it on you and your selfishness. Man, it's what I was gonna say earlier, because like if we talking about how people think we don't care. I'm looking at it and I'm flipping it. I'm like, well, do you really care about me if I'm trying to take care of myself and you have a problem with me taking care of myself and you feel like I'm being selfish? Then do you really care about me? You're saying that I don't care if I don't share, and you're not the only one with the whole toys and the cousins come over, and that was me too. But I didn't hide the stuff. I just was mad because they usually would break my stuff. So for that, I was thinking, I'm like, well, you making me share. That means you really don't care about how I feel about the things that I consider mine. So you're making me share. And then that's another reason why some people don't like sharing, because of the childhood trauma that sharing may have created.
When they broke it, they didn't buy it or fix it. And you were stuck with broken stuff.
And
right, and they just went on home, and I had to clean up after them.
Oh yeah,
you get in trouble, but then you get in trouble because they broke it, because you didn't take care of your stuff. Well, you said I had to share it,
and they always wanted to come to your house. You could never go to their house too.
And please don't forget, I don't mind Tracy. Like me and Tracy, we go together. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tracy being selfish, it's all good. But I'm special, because if you love me, you would give me a special place in your life to override anything I want to do at any time. So you selfish because you didn't exempt me. You treated me like you treat everybody else. I'm special.
Watch it.
So Deanna needs to listen to what I say, and you need to let me be mean to you because I'm special.
Oh, wait a minute, sir. You doing way too much with that one.
I need a special place in your life.
He went down another street.
He so did.
I need a special place.
We parked in one place. He was like, no. It's some more stuff further down the street. Follow me.
All that. And this, Robbie, I got one more thing to say. Go ahead, Trinace.
So I have been called selfish all my life. I was a selfish girl, then I was a selfish teenager, then I became a selfish woman, until I understood that selfish was a manipulation to get me to do what you want me to do.
Absolutely.
So on the other end of that, because I had already been labeled selfish all that time, that put me in a position to always be choosing other people over choosing me. And I was never doing anything for myself. I would go out of my way and stop doing what I was doing for me to do for other people. So I try to, I don't even use the word selfish. What I would say is I'm being more self-full. And what that means for me is be more invested in prioritizing what I need to do, what I deem necessary based on now that I understand what my purpose is. Now, based on what it is now, it's definitely going to grow bigger, but based on what it is now, I have to learn how to be responsible for what it is now so that I can nurture it to grow bigger.
Fair. That's fair. Let me just, I'm fit to say something bad that needs to be said. This world has never been kind to a woman with an opinion. There's no point in human history in which the world has ever been kind or graceful or merciful with a woman who had an opinion. You can't show it to me in world history.
I mean, Lilith got removed from history, period.
That's prehistory. No doubt. You can't show it to me in world history where women who had an opinion have been treated fairly or with mercy. You can't show it. You can pick antiquity, which is Roman times, pick biblical times, pick today. You can't do it. So I'm not surprised that Tracy's been called selfish her whole life, because you've been a woman your whole life. Oprah. She's selfish for being happy and a billionaire. She's selfish for not getting married. She's just selfish. We have I'm not sure why this is just human history. I'm not sure why that we are not kind of women. I can say this though. Any nation that oppresses women, their economy suffers greatly. Now I can say that. There's a correlation between economics and how you treat women. There really is. I don't know why. Somebody needs to write a book about it. But think about every oppressive regime.
America must not be getting the memo. Okay.
No, America.
How much in debt are we? Trillions of dollars? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
America got
I'll
the
leave that
memo.
alone.
America just chooses to ignore what they received.
I
So
think
can
Nishan
I
was gonna
jump?
say something. Yeah. Because I want to talk about words just for one moment. No, you go.
Okay, can I get it?
No. Yeah, you go. You go ahead.
So, Antonio, that's interesting when you say women, but I'm gonna throw this curve in here because of me writing my book and what I discovered. Working in the dominant European environment as a surgical technologist, and when I started realizing that I had purpose for myself and I wanted something for myself, and I wanted to get out of the box of what the dominant European culture wanted from me, I realized something else, my brother, is that America has never allowed our brothers, men of color, to have a voice to speak our truth and allow us to drop it like we wanted to drop it and say what we wanted to say, our truth, our purpose, our ideology about our women, about our children, unless we do it by their permission. And that's why I say I'm not your Black America. And so I see it another way for what you're saying. I'm saying that I've realized, okay, that yes, our women have been forced to be something culturally, okay, because that's the king, the dominant European culture allow our queens to make moves that they've stopped our men who are kings from doing moves. And so I'm saying that moving forward in 2024, our men culturally, as descendants of American slaves, we have to learn how to drop it and let our stuff drop it and say and speak so we can cover our women and our children, that they don't have to stand in the gap for us as they have in the past.
Yeah, I obviously agree with everything you said. I've got far stronger words than what you said. You were far kinder than what I would have been had I had the microphone, for sure. I agree with everything you said. I'm a little bit more militant when it comes to what
I
you
can be
said.
militant too.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
and learn how to navigate in the dominant European culture. Yeah. I've learned not to allow myself to come across as the angry Black man, because so often that our words can be screwed and turned against us when you in the dominant European culture. So when we get the mic and the ability to speak, we must speak in such a manner that we do not become threatening Okay, causing others
but the
to
black
fail
man is
in
the only
spirit.
person that has that burden, though, right?
Yes, we're the only
we the
demographics
only
who
people that
who
have
got
that burden.
burden. That's
Right?
exactly
Nobody else has that burden. Like when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, which
Yes,
is terrible, he ruined black people. We're the
right,
only
exactly.
people
Right, real.
that if Bono goes slap
Right.
Sting, because that's not a slap against white people, right?
No, that's
It's
right,
stuff like
exactly.
that, right? Yeah, it's stuff like
So
that.
you and I didn't see an agreement on that.
No,
Because
no doubt, they already
I
told me
was
about
not
you.
upset. I mean, I wasn't totally in agreement, but I wasn't upset with the slap, okay? Because I
No, for
thought
sure.
it was a time. It is never in a time have you ever seen our culture of people sitting in the Academy Awards, sitting in the front row, sitting in the manner that we were speaking to be able to do what we were doing.
No, I've never heard a black person say surgical technologist. Put those two words together. I've never even so
being able to navigate in the dominant European environment and to get their respect, to see me as equal. I ain't trying to be above them, but equal as them. I agree that our women has always been attacked, but I have suffered and witnessed that our men have not been allowed since the beginning of this time to allow our, nuts to drop like any other men in this country or in this world. We always have to walk, as I say, invisible to allow others to feel comfortable with themselves.
Man, that's a whole lot there. There's a whole lot there for sure. And again, I agree. I wish I could have that conversation, which I sure can. We'll have it tomorrow, but we're just gonna have it right now if we gotta go for sure. Go ahead, Jalen.
No, I just wanted to kind of piggyback because it's like, I've gone a lot of different avenues as a young man in this world, and like I wanted to be in healthcare, and it's like I'm as qualified as the next person, but then they still choose the same people, they do the same things, and it's very hard to get into positions of power as being black into the society. So
okay, so now I have to address it. Let's for one moment, let's remove it from black. Trust me, it's coming back. Let's just remove it real quick.
Thank you, Antonio. I know where you're going. Exactly.
Yeah.
Move it from black.
Take
color off the table. Take it off the table.
Yeah. Would everybody, Tracy, this is what I love about being me. I see things for what it is, and I love that, especially 4-day laws of power. Tracy, nobody wants power until you give it to them. Nobody wants it until you give it to them. And once you give it to them,
hold on. Yeah, go.
I say, Grace.
Put that in church talk for me and Jerome. Come on, go ahead. Go ahead.
Nobody wants to be in charge until you put them in charge, Grace. Nobody wants the anointing of responsibility until you give it to them. We do this all day. Everybody hates power until you give them a lot of it. So now take it out of black, white, Jew, Gentile, and let's just put it in a power conversation. This is going to make a lot more sense. Women ain't allowed to have power. Black people ain't allowed to have power. You're property. You're subordinate. You're inferior. So now we just removed, if it's 8 billion people on the planet, 4 billion people can't have power. If you're a person of color, you can't have power. So who gets to have power? Well, it's obvious. The old white man. The young white man can't even have power unless he's groomed by the old white man first. This is the real problem. The real problem is we have, take it out of white people. The real problem is 78, 88, 68-year-old men write laws in every country across the world. That's a major issue. Let me just help y'all out real quick. Phil has no idea what my children are doing in their daily lives. Not because he don't care, because they generations apart. When you are when you're 3 generations apart, 4 generations apart, you shouldn't be writing laws for everybody. That's the problem. The problem is when we want to change generations, we say, hey, Jerome, who thinks a certain way of a certain age, I'm making you a white man now, Jerome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Your credit score just immediately jumped up. Good job, Jerome. Write this law. This is the problem. Our problem is that one of our problems, at least a major part of our problem, is the people who have power look a certain way, and it has nothing to do with women anymore. When you think about power, it is a certain sect of people. Remember, I am a African American, even though blah, blah, blah. Phil is an American. I'm not saying he can't go by other things. I'm just saying to be in America is to be hyphenated unless you look like the people in Congress.
Okay, I got to interrupt you.
Antonio.
I got to interrupt you. I have to do this. So I'm screwed is what you're basically saying, because I'm Black, African American, and I'm a woman.
Absolutely.
And I'm a woman.
Absolutely.
So and I have a position that says I have a power and authority, but these folks, I'm a token at a
even if you was a white
well,
woman, I'm arguing. Even if you was a white woman,
like
you're a token.
well, exactly. So I was sitting here kind of getting attitude, but in the grand scheme of things, even though some of that I believe, I won't believe it, because I'm probably somebody that they think is aggressive or assertive because I have an opinion. And when you're of color and you have an opinion and you might act like you have a little bit of sense, they don't know what to do with you.
Yeah,
they don't know what to do with me.
Let's see
right? So if I have the passion, then something must be wrong, or oh my goodness,
you got passion too.
Violent.
You got passion and an opinion.
So I'm all jacked up. So I'm all jacked up. I need some counseling right now.
And so now y'all laughing, but let me tell you something. Now y'all leaning to why my lawsuit, okay? Because being a 275-pound, 6'2" brother, 6'1" brother with an opinion and believe that I'm Michael Jordan in the operating room and can do as I please and everything in a dominant European environment, you can get yourself in trouble and everything. And people can start believing that their authority to exist supersedes you until you check them, okay? And I'm telling you, Antonio, the only thing that trumps everything that you said is when you are an asset to the dominant European environment. See, I'm the baddest surgical technologist in Louisville, Kentucky, okay? Doctors ask for me when I'm in the room. Saw me showing you in the room? Oh, dude, the European women gets mad because they are irrelevant, okay, when me showing is in the room. So I say the thing that trumps everything is when you make yourself an asset to the dominant European environment.
Absolutely. Now let me offend Phil real quick, because he liked too many Black people. Like this is the problem. He likes too many women. So now he's not in power no more. This is just how we're not talking about universal laws. We're talking about what is power. That's why I wanted, if you
Antonio,
take it out. Yes, ma'am.
Our daughter is out there trying to change this. She's got her doctorate in critical race theory. So she lectures around the world on these subjects right here.
Oh, yeah.
So it is part of our family.
And they're demonizing critical race theory right now. Oh my God. It's a whole
she's on panels with people from Harvard and everywhere. And they're working it out.
It's
critical risk. And I got to get off this because but y'all, jump to a subject that is my heart. And I hope I don't offend anybody here, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Critical risk theory cannot be characterized based through a color construct implemented by the dominant European environment. You must become you gotta come from under the color construct. You will never be able to get the dominant European culture who put the color construct in place to see you other than what they saying that you are. You gotta come from under the color construct. That's why I identify myself as an American descendant of slave. I'm honoring my ancestors.
Well, no doubt. If anything, you are an indigenous person because Black people didn't migrate here. All right.
You're right. They're right. There is no Black country. There is no white country. If I'm going to be proud of my existence here, I'm going to be proud of my existence of the American slaves that were formed and created here in this country. So I want to honor them by saying that I'm an American descendant slave. And that's a conversation that critical race theory do not want to talk about because they only want to box us into color. And we got to get out of the color construct.
Let me just define two terms. Dominant European culture is not the same thing as populist European culture. I want to clear that up.
Yes, I'm glad you said.
I want to clear that up. I want to clear up just because dominant is the people writing laws. Let's just make that
right. That's plain. All we're talking about.
The people writing laws aren't necessarily the people to open up the door when I walk in Walmart. Hey, Amen. White guy, you want to go first? Yeah, hey, you go first. Like this is completely different America when I'm in Walmart versus when I turn on Fox News. These are two different Americas, okay? But I want to say something real quick about words. Words are just words. They have connotation, vibrations. They have denotations, definitions. A connotation of words and vibration. Got that? This boom. Whether you now this has nothing to do with what Susan said earlier, but I want to talk about the word karma and this idea of words. I hear people say all the time. I hear people all the time of certain circles say things. You can always tell what bubble someone lives in. And right now, with the internet, everybody lives in a bubble now. Everybody lives in a bubble. Everybody lives in a bubble. You're in a Fox News bubble, CNN bubble. If I bring up right now Israel and Hamas, I'm going to hear what bubble you live in. Right now, I'm absolutely going to hear it. If I bring up Palestine, I'm going to hear the bubble you're in. If I bring up Ukraine, I'm going to hear your bubble. Whatever you bubble in, I'm going to hear it come out of your mouth for sure. Know that
I just showed my bubble.
No doubt. Know that our view of words is 100% influenced by our bubbles. I'll give you a great example. I hear all the time people in Jerome circles, well, I don't believe in karma. It's a word. I don't believe in law of attraction. It's a word or it's a phrase. Reap what you sow, you do believe in. Karma, reap what you sow, cause and effect, law of attraction are the same words. There is no difference. Karma is an Eastern thought. Your Bible is an Eastern book. We've westernized it. So now we have a problem with words. So I just want to end with that by letting you know that the moment something incites you, I want you to ask yourself, and Jana said this the other day, who made me responsible for this? Who made me responsible for this inciting action I have going on right now? It's not me. You weren't born, Adonia didn't get born and went, oh, I'm gonna struggle as a woman and be passionate. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. That's absolutely not what happened. And we need to be mindful of this. The goal traces to vibrate a universal law. So these man-made laws, these ideas, all this social construct we talking about can't affect you. It can't affect you. You can still be a white woman and successful. Remember, so when people get mad at me all the time, but I'm a huge egalitarian. It's just a fancy word that means I believe in equal rights for all people, especially marginalized people groups like women. If you are a white woman, I feel bad for you. And I don't mean in pity. I mean that you can't see like I see that I got the right to vote before you. That's the history of this country. That says something. It says something. It says that I'm more respected in corporate America than Susan. That is a problem. That's a problem. Firstly, my hair is offensive, but they like me more than they like her. That's just something about that is so low vibrational that at some point somebody need to do something about it. Me, in my case, I am doing something about it, but that's neither here nor there for this conversation. Watch your words. They are spells. And watch what words trigger emotional responses in you, because a spell just got enacted. I'll say it again. Again, I'm done. Watch your words. They are spells. I don't like the word spell. Your whole Bible is a spell book. You literally say, speak those things that are not as if they were. The entire Bible comes from African witchcraft. Whether you like this or not, you have altars and grains and offerings and sacrifices. The Bible happened in Africa. It did not happen in Boston, Massachusetts. And when you recognize that these words are either you're saying them because you're emotional.
Why are you trying to bring me out of hiding? I have got to say where I can hear you.
This Grace, just put this in the chat for me. Our words, we say them because we're emotional about them, or they trigger us because we're emotional about them. And this is what you need to be careful of. It's not those big decisions, Tracy, that change your life. It's these millions of words that Phil say, don't say that, I'm looking forward to. It's these millions of words that are the seeds that we picking up and planting, picking up and planting, picking up and planting. If you don't like a word, ask yourself, what was that vibration? If you say a word, ask yourself, what was that vibration? And lastly, be very careful, because if you did something and you feel 100% right that you did it, you are probably wrong.
So Antonio, I know we
Yes,
got to
sir.
go, but I just want to say to you, to hear you saying the words are spells.
They are.
Brother, I sat in the courtroom and I had one of my brothers, you were one of my brothers, when I told him everything that had happened to me and I witnessed, he told me exactly what he said, what you just said. I witnessed the reason why I won my case, where it looked like it was going totally against me. My attorney used language.
Right.
I'm just telling you. And I told it to my partner. He said, I witnessed where I was looked like I was about to lose. I was losing. And my attorney brought up language, old language out of the legal system that interjected into the legal law that the judge she was obligated by the legal law of the word, the spell that my attorney cast into the courtroom. She was bound by the spell to obey it. Oh my God, I'm just amazed that you're talking about that.
Absolutely.
I witnessed and experienced that in the courtroom.
Absolutely. I'm not telling y'all like the word spell. I am trying to prove to you someone demonized it.
Yes.
When Jerome, everybody just do, if you're not driving, just do me a favor. I hate to make you close your eyes, but yeah, wisdom, you show right, Phil. Close your eyes. I only have them closed for 5 seconds. I want you to, everybody picture Jerome praying, and I want you to picture God giving Jerome what he prayed for. You can stop right there. You can open your eyes back up. That's a thought experiment. This is what Einstein did. Sounds like a spell to me.
Amen.
Think about that. Think about it. It's not here. You said something to something higher, and it came.
So visualization is a spell.
Jacob
put
did
words to it. Prayer is just a spell to God. Jesus, how do we pray? Like this. And that was literally a seance. I'm not attempting to tell you like these words. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get you to see that almost everything that be careful here. Almost every single thing that threatened the power of the Latin church came from countries that were not Latin.
Amen.
And it was all demonized.
Amen.
That's
Esau asked his father, do you not have anything for me? Do you not have anything for me? And it's not like his father went into the chest or went into the safe and pulled out his inheritance, his birthrights. All he did, and Tony, you know where I'm going. All he did is sow into Jacob. Okay, was it Jacob, the other brother? I can't think of that name. He sowed
Jacob and Esau.
He gave away Esau birthrights in words. In words. And if you didn't study that, Esau asked, do you not have, the father said, I have nothing. I've given it all to your brother. It was words. It was words. I'm out, bro. Y'all, this has been with love y'all to go.
Yeah.
Y'all take care.
Would the process of making love a spell?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The way it gives birth, don't it?
9 months of giving birth later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When Jerome makes a vow, it's a spell he's willing to die for. It's better to not make a vow.
To vow and not pay.
Than vow and not pay. These are just words. We don't like them. It's just words. Somebody demonized them. If it came from a brown country or a country that did not have power, it was demonized. It was just demonized. Over time, these words have changed.
Yes.
And now we're drinking Kool-Aid. We don't even know we're drinking. Go ahead, Deanna. You got it. But
thank you all so much for joining us.
But what time we'll see him tonight? What time
we
we see him tonight?
See everyone tonight at 7 p.m. for our bureau keynotes. Miss Melissa Rushchalk, she will be presenting to us on this evening. I want to thank all of you guys so much, and I want everyone to pay attention to your 5%.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And remember that Monday will be Let's Study a Book next Monday. And we'll do that. So everybody will be here for that. It's great stuff that they do. So God is
good. We're gonna do chapter 3 on Monday. So if you can get from Grace chapter 1 and chapter 2, the recordings of those, that will help you catch up to chapter 3 that we're gonna go over.
Right. And that's Monday morning at 8:00. So good stuff there. Good stuff.
I'll send everyone the call reminders Monday morning. Because it won't be this Zoom call information. It's another one that we have for listening.
If you got a corporate sponsorship, we'll be getting with you. We got some audio commercials we need to do with you. We're about to blast you out in front of a couple million of people. So be ready for get contacted.
Love you, everybody. If you have a corporate sponsorship with Antonio, I need your business logos, please.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll be reaching out to all of you. All right, everybody. You can't plan better. You can't dominate. Good job, Deanna. You started a fire. All
Love
right,
you all.
everybody. Love
y'all
you
take
more.
care. Love you. Appreciate you.
Love you more.